Hello, everybody. Got a good one today. Why would we have a bad one, right? But we got a good one today. Today's discussion could be encapsulated by saying how to do CrossFit in a globo gym. This is a question that's come up many times, and it just seems to, something else always seems to come up. I never seem to actually dive into it, so I figured today was the day, organized my thoughts, poured a new cup of coffee, and now we'll dive right in. So, once again, how to do CrossFit effectively under the constraints of working out in a more traditional globo gym type setting. It can be done. People are doing it every day. Here are some best practices and how to avoid some of the common things that make it annoying. So, step one, don't do it. Go into your garage, get your friends in your garage, have a blast. There you go. Problem solved. Let's say that for whatever reason that's not possible. Okay, you've got to work out in the globo gym. It is what it is. Fine. Here we go. Potential pitfalls that make working out in the globo gym frustrating. There's usually far more machines than there are barbells. The barbells that are there are traditionally not really high quality. The knurling isn't really what you would like for it to be. They usually don't spin very well. All of that is just not great for CrossFit. There's usually no chalk, and using chalk is highly discouraged. So now you've got a barbell with knurling that you don't like, with hands that are a little bit sweaty, and the frustration snowballs. If you're doing a mixed modality sort of a workout, which I hope that you are, it involves maybe some running. Well, there's a good chance that the treadmills are far away from wherever the other implements are, and now you've got this walk to deal with, or you can't bring barbells over to the treadmill, so you got to deal with that. There's possibly no bumper plates in any way, shape, or form, and maybe if you're lucky enough to have some, that's fantastic. You may not be allowed to drop anything, so that's a pain. And then, of course, there's most likely no rings for ring muscle-ups, no ropes to climb, no bars that work well for bar muscle-ups. So it seems like there's a lot of obstacles, but that's okay. We can make it happen. Let's kind of dive into each one of those issues one at a time, find a moderate solution, and then at the end, we'll actually discuss some classic CrossFit workouts and how to do them in this setting. Okay, so the no chalk issue. Here's what I would recommend, okay? And if it's illegal where you're working out, then hey, it's up to you with what you're doing. I'm just saying this is an idea that popped into my head. Climbers will have a chalk bag that they hang on their waist so they can keep their hands chalked for their rock climbing. But you don't necessarily just have to have loose chalk in a small, nondescript bag that people wouldn't know what you brought in, right? Because it's not clear. They also make like a chalk ball. It's like a cloth sack that you fill with chalk, and then you just kind of grab it with your hands, and it keeps your hands nice and dry. Instead of you don't want to have this big like chalk cloud that you're clapping wherever you are. So a small cloth filled sack of chalk can work fantastic, and that can be kept in a chalk bag, and then you can just keep your hands dry enough to do what you need to do without looking like there's just snow and white powder everywhere in the gym, and then your hands are white, and then you wipe them on your pants, and everyone knows that you're the culprit. So we want to avoid that. So be subtle, but there are some ways around that. Next, okay, barbells that don't spin. Okay, not great, but barbells that don't spin, they're going to work just fine for your front squats and your back squats. They're going to work just fine for deadlifts, shoulder presses, push presses, thrusters. They're just going to be horrible for Olympic lifts. Now, you might be able to still do some Olympic lifts with them. It'll be far from ideal, and you might just become like farm strong by doing that. And then when you finally get a barbell in your hands that spins nicely, suddenly your power clean will go up 75 pounds. So you have to work with what you have to work with. But for the slow lifts and the power lifts, you should be good to go. And we'll talk about some workarounds for the Olympic lifts here in a second. No bumper plates potentially. If you do have them, great. Consider yourself lucky. That's fantastic. But let's say the Globo gym has no bumper plates. Not ideal, but again, we can manage. You're going to get really good at not dropping the barbell, but it is possible. So if you're done with a front squat, in a break from CrossFit tradition, instead of just dumping it on the ground in a big dramatic show, you'll have to do something crazy like re-rack the bar. It'll be just fine. If you finished a set of thrusters, instead of dropping it from overhead, as out of character as this may seem in CrossFit, you will once again just lower the barbell to the front rack position, then down to your hips, and then carefully place it on the ground. Problem solved. So again, a lot of these things we can do as long as the loading that you're using is something that you can safely re-rack, lower back down to the ground. And that may also force you potentially to make a couple different decisions in your workouts, but fitness will still be achieved and you'll still be okay. So maybe instead of going to just absolute muscular failure on a set of thrusters, right? Like let's say in Fran, the 21 thrusters at 95 pounds is literally all that you have in the tank. That when you barely punch out rep number 21, you just have to drop it. It's going to come crashing down to the ground because you got nothing left. Okay, don't do that. Stop at 15 reps when you're still very much in control. Lower the barbell down. Recover your breath, recover your strength, then do another controlled set of 6. Yes, doesn't look as great on an Instagram highlight reel as this maximal set of 21, but a tough set of 15 followed by whatever is the minimal amount of time that you need to then go ahead and get a set of 6 in will still get you to 21. Fitness will still be achieved, and you'll be able to do it in a setting where you can't drop weight from overhead and get kicked out. We don't want you getting kicked out. We want you finding a way to work out there and still getting in your fitness. So we can do that even with no bumper plates. Okay, here we go. Let's get into the Olympic lifts. If we're talking worst case scenario, terrible barbells that don't spin, metal plates, no bumper plates, hate the knurling, they don't want you using chalk, this is not where somebody's going to train to go to the Olympics, right? So you're probably not going to have this big 1 rep max, 2 rep max kind of clean and jerk deal. The environment is just simply not set up for it with the equipment and with the lack of being able to drop it from overhead, especially for something really heavy. So, okay, let's say for the clean and jerk, let's say that you can't clean and jerk, period. It's just not allowed. Some crazy rule, worst case scenario, it's not allowed. Okay, well, let's break it down. Let's work your deadlift. We can still do that. Let's work your bent over row. We can still do that. Let's work your front squat. Let's develop a monstrous shoulder press, a monstrous push press, and then we can still probably work the split jerk and the push jerk just from the front rack position at loads that you don't need to drop. Okay, so whatever that happens to be, sets of 5, for example, you're going to get plenty of fitness in doing that. It's not ideal. Or maybe you can clean and jerk, but whatever loading that you use will have to be manageable and controllable with steel plates and with no barbell spin. But just remember that the lower loading and increasing the number of repetitions that you do will still produce plenty of fitness, okay? And again, would it be great to go for a 1 rep max? Absolutely, but we're just saying we find ourselves in this tough situation. We have to work out in the Globo gym. We have to abide by their rules, and so we're going to just make the best decisions that we can due to the environment. Snatching, likely not going to happen, okay? Steel plates, no bumpers, no bar spin, not very friendly to the Olympic lifts. However, once again, you might be able to work a lower percentage and just work the power snatch, even with a barbell and spin that's just not ideal. You could work potentially on getting the heaviest overhead squat that you can once again, keeping in mind that you'll want to pay attention to the loading so that if you can't drop it from overhead, that you're comfortable lowering that weight, potentially to your back rack position to then put it into a power rack or something like that. So make good decisions. Don't compromise your form or safety. Lower percentages, higher reps will still get a lot of work done if you can't drop it from overhead. What about no rings for muscle ups, no rope climbs, and no bar muscle ups? All right, we've got options there too. If you can find a rig, pull-up bar somewhere, even if it's between the, what's that thing called? The cable crossovers or something, wherever there's a pull-up bar, if it's actually bolted to the ground or it's heavy enough to support kipping, great. The texture of the bar that you're gripping on the pull-up bar might not be ideal. Maybe it's covered in some weird foam or rubber, and again, it's slippery. Well, hey, you know what? You just might have to do smaller sets. If your grip's starting to give way, that's okay. You potentially snuck in that chalk bag, and you're just going to develop some phenomenal grip strength. So let's see the glass is half full. But if you can find a rig for kipping chin over bar and kipping chest to bar, great, fantastic, you're winning, right? But let's say that you can't. Well, the sun has come out. What great news. You are about to become a beast at strict pull-ups. And that's a great beast to be. It's a beautiful beast. So you are not being given a punishment, you are being given a reward. You get to do a lot of strict pull-ups. That's phenomenal. Guess what's also cooler than strict chin over bar pull-ups? Strict chest to bar pull-ups, especially with a supinated grip, your palms facing you. What a phenomenal movement that I bet if you took a poll of a lot of CrossFitters, they haven't done strict chest to bar pull-ups or maybe even strict pull-ups in quite some time. That's a tragedy. So now you will be kind of forced into doing a phenomenal strength building movement, and I don't think that you will be sad in the long run that you had to do a lot of strict pull-ups. What about the rope climb? Can't do a rope climb. No worries, we've got you covered. You're going to the Globo gym anyway. You probably got your gym bag. You've got a towel, right? Take that towel, throw it over the pull-up bar, and befriend the towel pull-up. Towel pull-ups are incredible. A beautiful pulling movement, and you will develop the grip strength needed to just tear the head off of a lion if you ever need to do that. So embrace the strict pull-ups, embrace the strict chest to bar pull-ups, and embrace towel pull-ups. And if you're not there yet on any of those movements, that's okay. It's all good. They probably don't have a set of rings there, but maybe they have those TRX straps or something like that. There's probably a set of those somewhere hanging somewhere in the Globo gym. You can use those TRX bands or straps or whatever they are to do exactly what you would do with a ring row. And so infinitely scalable. So if you're not there yet on the strict pull-ups, make those ring rows or TRX rows or whatever you happen to come across as challenging as you can, all the way up to putting your feet in a box or a bench. You're not going to be shortchanged. You're going to be 100% good to go. So there's our pulling movements there. As a general concept of working out in a Globo gym, here's a general concept. Embrace dumbbells. Dumbbells are phenomenal. They are a gift from heaven that will elevate your fitness like few other things. And if you're trapped in a Globo gym, it might be a great opportunity to touch the dumbbells a bit more frequently than maybe you would if you always had access to a barbell and bumpers and you could drag it all around the gym and do whatever you want to do. So the dumbbells are great. And the dumbbells are fantastic for both workouts that you would traditionally use a barbell for. If you're going to do DT, one of the most beloved barbell workouts in CrossFit, but you just can't do it with the bumpers, a loading, a platform, whatever it happens to be, grab a set of dumbbells, tuck yourself in the corner of a gym, do dumbbell DT, and then let me know if you feel shortchanged. I don't think that you will. But you can also not just use dumbbells in like a traditional mixed modality kind of a workout, but also they are a phenomenal resource on a classic heavy day. So if for whatever reason, machines are taken or barbells are taken, you just can't get what you want, the equipment that you need, and it's a 7x1 deadlift, if it's a 7x1 power clean, snatch, back squat, whatever it happens to be, with proper knowledge, you can grab a set of dumbbells, once again, just tuck yourself into a corner and absolutely get everything needed accomplished that you want to on even a classic heavy day. Just with a pair of dumbbells, you will be fantastic. And we have some great heavy days, by the way, on the Linchpin private track. Under the limited equipment option is our dumbbell workout every day. And if it's a classic heavy day for the regular workout of the day, 7x1 deadlift, 7x1 whatever, there's a way to get that done that we program with either like just a pair of 50-pound dumbbells for the men, just a pair of 35s, or whatever dumbbells you happen to have available. But you can bring the heat and you can get strong with just a pair of dumbbells. And now we've been doing this long enough that I can present this information to everybody, not as just my strongly felt opinion, but as an actual proven, undeniable fact. Now we've been doing this long enough, and especially with the lockdown, that we've had athletes who literally weren't able to touch a barbell for 6 months or more, just had a pair of dumbbells, did all the workouts, did the heavy days just with the dumbbells, and then, a COVID restriction got lifted where they are, they able to join their friends somewhere for a workout, a barbell came back in their hands, and it was 5x5 front squat or some sort of now heavy day once again, but the barbell came around. And the common theme is either A, I didn't lose anything, or this doesn't make any sense to me. I could lift actually a little bit more with the barbell, even though I haven't touched it in 6 months. So the dumbbells are phenomenal, and variance is your friend. And if now you're getting in heavy days with dumbbells instead of a barbell, you're going to most likely do some different movements that you haven't done in years, and that's going to pay off big time for you. It's going to be fantastic. And again, it's easier to sneak dumbbells into a corner of the gym, bring them next to a pull-up bar, potentially get them next to your treadmill. You could probably do all of that a lot easier than you could dragging a barbell around the gym. And they may not want you in a globo gym dragging a barbell next to the treadmill, but you can probably sneak a little pair of dumbbells next to your gym bag, and get some work done. Okay, let's work out. If it's you've got a barbell there in the globo gym, if it's a 7x1 deadlift day, you're good to go. You can do that. 7x1 back squat, front squat, you're good to go. You can do that. Snatch and clean and jerk on a heavy day, we kind of talked about that and what you may have to do earlier in the video, some lower percentages, some higher reps, breaking down the movement into its constituent parts. There's things that we can do. On a potential snatching or clean and jerk day, there's also, again, some things you could do with the dumbbells that will not shortchange you. I'm trying to think of one of the limited equipment option dumbbell workouts that when we program like a power snatch heavy day, you can do, so if you get, let's say you'd want a pair of 50-pound dumbbells for men, a pair of 35s for women, of course, scale if needed, but a classic day that we might have on the limited equipment option is 5 intervals, each for time, resting a couple minutes between each interval. And an interval would be 15 one-arm dumbbell power snatches with the left arm, then 15 with the right arm. They don't have to be unbroken, but you have to do all of the 15 with the left arm, then all 15 with the right arm. Then that only obviously requires one dumbbell. Then grab both dumbbells, a pair of 50s with a pair of 35s, and do 10 dumbbell squats. So the power snatch just needs one dumbbell. The dumbbell squats need 2 dumbbells. So an interval is 15 power snatches, dumbbell power snatches with the left arm, 15 dumbbell power snatches with the right arm, and then 10 dumbbell squats. That's one interval. The workout is 5 intervals, and you rest 1 to 2 minutes between each one of those. That thing is beautiful, effective, and diabolical all wrapped into one. And it does not take a long time to do. You do not need a lot of room to do it. You do not need a lot of gear. And it will maintain or accelerate your fitness, even if you can't get a barbell in your hands. Okay, let's get into like some classic CrossFit named workouts that might seem challenging to do in a globo gym environment. Helen. Now we've got 3 elements, right? Classic named benchmark, 3 rounds for time, 400-meter run, 21 kettlebell swings with a 53 or a 35 pounder, and then 12 kipping chin over bar pull-ups. Okay, all right, now we're going to try to do it in the globo gym. If you're lucky enough that, some globo gyms do have kettlebells, so if you can get yourself a kettlebell, fantastic. If you don't have a kettlebell to swing, that's okay. Grab a dumbbell. You can do a dumbbell swing, just basically the same as a kettlebell swing. Your grip's just a bit different, but it's 100% possible. If you can bring that kettlebell or dumbbell near the treadmill, fantastic. You can go ahead and get that done. If you have a short walk to the pull-up bar, that's okay. I'm okay with that. Some people, I don't want to use the word excuse, but some people will use that as some sort of a reason as to why it's not great to do in my globo gym, because I have like a 20 or 30 second walk to where the pull-up bar is, where obviously in my garage I wouldn't do that. I would run right to the pull-up bar, and therefore my Helen time is messed up. That's okay. Get that the heck out of your head. Don't worry about it. You're still going to achieve plenty of fitness even with a 20 to 30 second walk to the pull-up bar. And here's a piece of advice that nobody wants to hear. Ready? Run so fast that you need a 20 to 30 second walk to the pull-up bar. That's what nobody wants to do. Just casually jogging on the treadmill, just whistling a little tune, singing a little song, watching whatever's on TV. Yeah, and by the time you walk to the pull-up bar 30 seconds away, after a run that you really didn't push yourself on, you probably get your resting heart rate back down to 50 again. So yeah, you probably do feel shortchanged. But if you go for it, if you run like the devil is chasing you on that treadmill, and then you swing that kettlebell, you may very well need a 20 to 30 second walk before you get to the pull-up bar. So when in doubt, push the pace on the run. And again, report to me if you feel shortchanged. Now let's say that maybe the pull-up bar is just way too far away, or just whatever happens, you can't get to the pull-up bar. Period, end of story. Or you're like, if I have to go to the pull-up bar, I'm going to lose my treadmill. Somebody's going to grab it. Okay, fine. You took a kettlebell over there or a dumbbell over there. Bring two kettlebells or 2 dumbbells. This is ideally you can do this. Do your run, step right next to the pull-up bar, do your dumbbell swings or kettlebell swings. Then, again, you brought an extra one over there, right? Grab 2, so now you have a kettlebell in each hand or a dumbbell in each hand. Bend over at the waist and do bent over rows in place of the pull-ups. Perfectly ideal. A 1-for-1 beautiful swap? No, not necessarily. But will it get the job done in a less than ideal environment? Absolutely. You'll be good to go. Let's take another workout that's gear intensive. Christine. So Christine is 3 rounds for time of a 500-meter row, 12 deadlifts at your body weight, and then 21 box jumps. So to do this workout, you're going to need 3 pieces of gear. You're going to need a rower, a deadlift bar right next to you that no one's going to steal, and then a box to jump on. What's cool is more and more gyms, even more traditional globo gyms all around the world, you can find rowers in them these days. So that's excellent. So hopefully you have a rower. If not, you're going to be on the treadmill. If your rower is a Concept 2 rower, the gods have smiled upon you. If it is not a Concept 2 rower, maybe it counts a little bit differently, well, then you can just go by time domain. If you know roughly what if you pull a hard 500 during a workout, if you're somewhere between a 1:45 and a 2 minute, just hop on whatever that rower is and pull really hard for a minute 45 or 2 minutes, then go ahead and hop off. You'll be okay. Now, If you can drag a barbell over to where the rower is, then your life's great. And if you can drag a box over, then we don't even need to have this conversation because you're good to go. But let's say that you cannot drag a barbell and a box over there. We got you covered. Once again, trusty dumbbells to the rescue. And I'll tell you what, I weigh 185 pounds. Any day of the week, I would rather deadlift 185 pounds on a barbell than grab a pair of 90-pound dumbbells or 95-pound dumbbells and do the same number of dumbbell deadlifts with those heavier dumbbells. And that's one really cool thing about a Globo gym, is most of them have dumbbells up to just an insane weight. So you will most likely even be able to grab a set and do deadlifts with them, and you will get in some variance, my friend. Trust me on that one. So you will not be shortchanged with the dumbbell deadlift that you brought right next to the rower. And then let's say that there's no box jumps in your gym. They just, I don't know, it's a safety issue. They don't want, whatever it happens to be. Hey, no problem. Enter your old friend, the tuck jump. Don't even need to jump on anything. Just do a 1-for-1 exchange of however many box jumps that you would do. Do a tuck jump. Tuck jumps, I would rather do box jumps any day of the week over a tuck jump. You are getting extra fitness by doing tuck jumps. So once again, get your rower, bring your dumbbells over there for the deadlifts, and then do tuck jumps. You can do Christine in a very small amount of space with a very minimal footprint, minimal amount of gear. And you will wish that you had a barbell for deadlifts and that you had a box to jump on instead of doing tuck jumps. So you'll be good to go. All right, one more classic named workout, and then we'll just cover some miscellaneous, okay? Classic workout, Diane, 21-15-9, deadlifts and handstand push-ups. You obviously know what we're going to say about the deadlifts. If you can use a barbell, great. If you have to grab a pair of dumbbells, you're good to go. Grab dumbbells. What's probably going to be the sticky point on Diane is handstand push-ups. I'm going to just make a bold assumption that whatever Globo gym you're in wouldn't appreciate you going to a wall, kicking upside down, dragging the heels of your shoes up and down the wall, leaving marks all over it. That's if there is even a place to kick up that's not covered with a mirror or a rack or something else. So we're going to talk about, Diane, if you can't do handstand push-ups wherever you are. Okay. Well, you can't get inverted, that's fine. If you can have 2 barbells, great, because what we're going to substitute for the handstand push-up is just, depending upon whether you would have done them strict or kipping, just a strict shoulder press or a push press in place of a kipping handstand push-up. And if you can't bring a barbell over there to have 2 barbells, that's fine. Again, your trusty dumbbells to the rescue. You've got a barbell that you're deadlifting with and a set of dumbbells right next to it at the appropriate loading that you'll just grab those suckers and shoulder press or push press. And this may take some experimentation. You might not get it right the first time. That's okay. You just track your data in the old Beyond the Whiteboard apps. You know what you did and whether you should have gone a little heavier, a little lighter with the dumbbells or whatever. If you've done Diane a couple times before and you know whether you're doing it strict or kipping, how frequently you would have to break up the sets. Like let's say maybe for the set of 21 handstand push-ups, you're going to do them strict, and you usually do them strict in set of 10, set of 6, set of 5. That's how you get to 21. Great. Well, it'd be a nice replication to choose some dumbbells that are at that right challenging loading that you just don't blow through and do 21 unbroken, but they're also not so heavy that you have to do 7 sets of 3. It'd be nice if it was somewhere in the ballpark of a weight that you could get maybe about a set of 10 right out of the gates. You need to take a rest, then you can get in a 6, take a rest, then you can get in a 5. What is, again, a beautiful added benefit to your fitness by using the dumbbells is you're going to be developing a longer range of motion on the dumbbell shoulder press than you would on the handstand push-up, because on the handstand push-up where the rep would start and stop with your head on the ground and your hands at the same height as your head, well, now you're going to be bringing the dumbbells back down to the front rack position, so you're going to be developing that out of the hole pressing strength, which is so useful. So again, it's a benefit, quite frankly. Dumbbells are awesome. I know you're not getting inverted. It would be great if you could get inverted, but if it's not an option, it's not an option. Okay, couple ones just to wrap it up here. Wall balls come up frequently. Maybe they've got some medicine balls in there, whether they're your classic medicine ball or like more of like a slam ball, D-ball kind of a thing. But maybe you're not allowed to throw them at the wall. I wouldn't be surprised if you can't throw them at the wall. That's okay. Take the medicine ball, take the D-ball, whatever it is, bear hug it against your chest, and just execute a jumping air squat. You don't have to jump like a foot in the air, but jump 3 or 4 inches in the air, bear hugging that medicine ball, and you will be the recipient of a stimulus in your legs and your lungs that may catch you off guard. Yep, I know that there's not an overhead component. It's not ideal, but none of this stuff is ideal. You could also just do a light thruster. There'd be nothing wrong with that at all. Just a very light thruster for about the same repetitions that you would for whatever the wall ball happened to be. Handstand walking. Maybe you can't do that. Again, not ideal, but maybe you can lock out a pair of kettlebells overhead or a pair of dumbbells overhead and march in place, or just walk back and forth in a small area with that load extended overhead and pressed out overhead. Yes, you're not developing the balance and accuracy, the neurological components needed to walk in your hands. I get that, but we are, to the best of our ability, in a less than ideal environment, replicating the stimulus in a nice way that won't shortchange you and will allow you to keep working out in a globo gym. So these general concepts you can apply to whatever the movement happens to be, right? We can make almost anything happen, even in the globo gym setting, which is why I'm a fan of smart athletes and education. If you understand the intent of the workout, if you understand the why, if you understand scaling and modification, and scaling and modification is not a bad word. If you think that it is, I would encourage you not to let a word have that much power over you. Scaling and modifying workouts are 100% cool. All the cool kids are doing it. Prescribed workouts are for chumps, right? So do what you've got to do. Make it happen in the environment that you are. Fitness will be achieved. Have a good time while you do it. And then when you finally get to get back in your garage with the barbell and the bumpers and the rings, you'll be in paradise. And the world will be fantastic. So that's it. Have a wonderful day and enjoy working out no matter where you find yourself.